Hi, Barry. Hi, Glenn. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for helping us. Some people you don't need to introduce. Barry Schwartz, Glenn Gabe. Everyone in the SEO community knows who they are. Just say, okay, guys, keep donating.
Excellent. Well, it's great to be here. What's up, Barry?
Hey, how are you? Make sure to turn off that Google Home device behind you. Don't want them listening to us.
Oh, yeah, the original, baby. Yeah, so where do you want to begin? I mean, I guess we don't have too much to talk about. I mean, the fall was really quiet and things were, just moving along, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody should just forget about listening to us. Just spend time going to that PayPal link, that little QR code at the top right, and just donate. And it's a good cause, so make sure to donate. And we don't really have much to say, so I'm just joking. We could talk a little bit about Google updates, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to reiterate, definitely donate if you can. Anton's doing an amazing job with this and has for a long time. So definitely donate if you can. Yeah, I guess we could start with the summer of 2023 with all the volatility that you were tracking on Search Engine Roundtable, right? And we knew something was going on because there was all sorts of crazy volatility, looked like testing. And then August hit, and before you know it, we had 6 major updates roll out in a few months.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. We had the August core update at the end of August start. Then we had the September helpful content update, which everybody's talking about even through today. We had a spam update, some other ranking issues, and then a bunch of core updates, 2 core updates actually, back to back, and then the reviews update, the last reviews update. So there's a lot to talk about. I think a lot of SEOs are now focused in a lot on this helpful content update, but I'm not sure where you want to start, Glenn.
Yeah, I mean, we could definitely start there. I mean, with core updates, there wasn't anything that really stood out from other core updates necessarily, right? I mean, it's still Google evaluating quality overall, and quality, as John Mueller would explain, is much more than just content. It's user experience, it's aggressive advertising, it's how you present things and everything like that. The one thing I will just note before we hop into the HCU is just what I saw with core updates is sites contacted me that knew that they had issues and didn't address them because they were ranking well. So it was almost one of these things where they hadn't gotten impacted by previous core updates, or it was a while ago. And then, they just didn't tackle those things. And then boom, they got hit. So now they're frantically trying to fix these things. So that's really the only thing that stood out there. With broad core updates, there's a lot of things that you can improve if it's quality. But with the helpful content update, I mean, that was, as we know, just a massive update, hit many, many sites, especially small niche publishers. I would say that I haven't seen really any major large scale sites get impacted by that. And which makes sense if you think about it, right? Because Google's evaluating all the content on a site. And if it deems that a majority of that content or a significant amount is unhelpful, then the classifier will be applied, right? That's why people that contact me, they're like, why haven't news sites been hit? Well, if you're a legitimate news site, you're not going to have a lot of unhelpful content. You may have pockets of it, but not enough where you're going to get absolutely destroyed like a lot of sites that lost 70, 80% or more of their visibility overnight.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the complaints I see online about being hit by the helpful content update, some of them are not even actually the helpful content update. It's like the August core update. So I think it's very important that when you look to see what you're hit by, when these algorithms, is to see when you first got hit and to make sure to align it to the right update. Although there are core updates and helpful content updates, the same advice applies. Make a great website, make great content, make sure there's not ads flying all over the place, all that type of stuff. Your laundry list, Glenn, that you have provided numerous times to site owners on what they should do. But again, I think it's most important that you look at that and say, was I hit by this update or that update, or maybe it was something that was internal on my website that I made changes to. So I do agree. I do see a lot of niche, like specialty types of websites complaining about the helpful content update more than, let's say, a core update, like you said. I definitely agree with that. But then we had all these things happen with 2 back-to-back core updates right after that. And we definitely expected a helpful content update sooner. We haven't had one since September. So it's super interesting to see that Google hasn't released one yet.
Yeah, exactly. So with a lot of the sites, and I have over 700 documented that have been impacted by HCUs overall, but a lot of them were from the September update. They are smaller sites. There are a few hundred pages indexed. They're focused on a very specific topic. The most I saw it had like maybe 10,000 pages indexed. These are really small sites, right? They're not hundreds of thousands of pages, millions of pages or more. And the one thing that I wrote about in my post about it, which was that page experience was incorporated into the documentation for the helpful content update in April of 2023. We all kind of covered it, right, Barry? But no one was like, whoa, this is going to be big. But from everything I've seen, that is 100% incorporated into the September helpful content update. And again, this is really important. Some people are contacting me and going, well, it's aggressive ads alone or can't get you hit. No, it's not that. It's unhelpful content and aggressive ads or terrible UX. It's the combination of the two. That was the kiss of death. I've seen it a million times. Lily has seen it. Cyrus has seen it. Everybody's seen it, right? But unfortunately, just like with broad core updates, a lot of site owners, I think, are too close to their own sites, right? They're like, I don't think this is aggressive. Meanwhile, I check it. I can't even find the content. It's like stacked ads, auto video playing, following you down the page. It's terrible stuff, which is why I always say run a user study, right? If you have real users that are objective and not tied to you in some way, they're probably going to bring up that the aggressive advertising was super horrible. So anyway, yeah, it's like small niche publishers with bad UX on top of unhelpful content, and no one has recovered from September yet that I've seen.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Now, it's funny because Google kind of, like you said, warned us in 2022 about this helpful content update, and they released a couple of helpful content updates, and it didn't really have that much of an impact. So people are like, oh, I'm good. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to go by Google suggestions. And then, bam, they released that one in September, and it really had a big impact. It had the impact that Google conveyed to all of us that it would have. It was like, this is going to go after sites that are just trying to rank really well. And it's funny. It's like all the SEOs who got hit by this, not funny, it's kind of sad, but all the SEOs got hit by this is like, we want both. It's not like we just want to rank well in search. We also want to help users. This is not just about trying to rank very well. We also want to help users with their content. It's not one or the other. It's the same. And I think that's the big confusion is like, what is your primary purpose? For example, my site, Search Engine Roundtable, I got hit by tons. I got hit by a couple algorithm updates, and I didn't care. I honestly didn't care that my site was hit. I was like, oh, this is interesting. I found it fun, to be honest, because I cover this topic. And still, I have my audience. They were still going to the website. They still went there every single day. And I really just continued to build content to help users, even after that, just because not for search engines. And I don't know if you could separate the two, but if you can separate the two, I think you can probably say, you know what? Maybe I should make these changes because I think it's going to be helpful for users. Maybe I shouldn't stick ads here because I think it'll be better for users. Maybe I shouldn't go ahead and write this piece of content because it's not as useful for my user base, even though it might get a lot of traffic because Google Trends says it's trending or something like that. Think about what your users want, not what will rank well, not what will make you those amount of money and so forth. And I think that's very hard for a lot of people in the industry, including us, to go ahead and say, you know what, you're right, and this is what we need to do.
Yeah. And, to be honest, I have this giant list of sites impacted. I have not seen many make enough changes to be able to recover, to be honest with you. Now, Google, in my latest blog post, I talk about, different ways that the helpful content update can evolve. And this is based upon understanding previous punitive algorithm updates like Panda and Penguin, right? So when you look at how those evolved, and they did evolve over time, and both were retired, by the way, both were kind of baked into Google's core ranking algorithm and then retired. I mean, the HCU potentially could do that over time if Google sees that what it was going after, which is improving the search results and getting rid of sites that it thinks is just targeting search and not humans, if that gets to what it really needs to be. But you really need to improve your site. Now, since there were tons of small niche publishers, unfortunately, that means almost your entire site needs to be revamped, right? I mean, if you have 400 pages indexed, 300 are unhelpful, you have a lot of work to do, right? And this is part of the reason that I think a lot of sites have not recovered from the September HCU. And in order to do that, and by the way, even if you fixed everything by November or December, we're not even enough time out. The HCU, basically Google, the system needs to see all of those changes in place for months, they said. Forget about the weeks thing that just happened. It's not weeks, it's months. I mean, Danny explained that to me from before it was actually released when he spoke to a few SEOs, and I was one of them. So fix your site significantly. And then over months, you should be able to recover. It may be during another HCU, or it may be as the classifier is dropped from your site. But if you don't fix your site, you can't complain, in my opinion. You need to fix it.
Yeah. Plus, donating also helps you fix your site, just so you know. as part of the ranking factors. I'm just joking.
Right. It's one of the signals Google's using, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's interesting because, again, we haven't seen these sporadic and like in between Google like updates and ranking improvements with the helpful content update between that. And Google and Danny Sullivan got in trouble for, saying weeks, within 2 weeks, within a couple of weeks, not 2 weeks, which he then said, within a couple of weeks can mean within several months. And it's just, we haven't seen it. And that's concerning to me. I wonder if the next helpful content update will be significantly tweaked where it runs faster, where it's less punitive, where it's, I don't know. I don't think Google's going to double down on this one. I could be wrong, but who knows?
Yeah, I mean, again, my latest post provides several scenarios that could happen. They could target larger sites that have pockets of unhelpful content, which has not really happened, right? They could lessen the severity of the classifier, right? Although that will kind of go against what they're trying to do. It could be more granular, like Penguin got to, where it impacts specific URLs. But then you're giving spammers, right, a very good clue on what that threshold is. And I don't know if Google's going to go down that path, right? So it should be interesting. I do think we're going to see changes with the next HCU. I believe we probably will see some recoveries. But again, if you really need to take a look at your site and figure out, are you really doing this for humans or is it for search volume, right? I mean, is it to get people there or just to monetize, or are you truly trying to help people? That's what Google's really going after with the HCU. And if the first few were just hit very extreme sites, and then the September one demolished a whole slew of niche publishers. So we shall see where that goes. But before we get off, we should probably talk about the reviews update a little bit, because that's...
I was going to make a quick comment. Like, if all else fails, just go ahead and use AI to write a lot of content. And if that doesn't help you, then just post on Reddit and you'll rank very well there and you're good to go. But let's talk about reviews.
Yeah, so with the reviews update, I mean, it was a really big move. So if you want to talk about a system evolving, right? You had the product reviews update evolve into the reviews update. And now it's actually, we're not going to hear about any specific reviews updates, because now it's being improved on an ongoing basis on a regular pace behind the scenes, right? So if they do something radically to it, I think we'll hear about it. But for the most part, it's kind of now gone. So if you think about the way Panda moved, the way Penguin moved, the reviews update, which is more about, it's not a punitive algorithm update. It's not a punitive system like Penguin and Panda and the HCU. It's more about rewarding really good content, although your drop, from it could seem like it's a punitive algorithm update. But now it's behind the scenes. So it's almost gone. Like, you will not really know unless all you focus on is reviews, and then you drop outside of a core update, then you could maybe say, hey, this was a reviews update. If not, you just need to improve your site overall. And the review, it's not just product reviews, it's any type of content that can provide recommendations like that. So it's been pretty interesting to watch.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they said they're not going to confirm future normal reviews updates, because it was only after the second, in February 2023 was the last product reviews update. Then they switched it in April to the reviews update. And then the next reviews update was like, this is the next reviews update. It's in November, and we're not talking about them ever again. I was really shocked about that. I mean, how else are people supposed to go ahead and make really great cat food reviews and try to succeed with that stuff?
I've covered a million times what I call dueling machine learning systems, right? And that was crazy to see. Core update hits the site, reviews update surges back, or vice versa. I mean, and for some review sites, I've shared these in presentations and in blog posts. It was even outside of reviews updates and core updates where these sites were gaining all their search visibility back, losing it all like 3 weeks later or 2 weeks later. I mean, so to me, my guess is they were like, we can't have these systems dueling, right? We need to just get, and John Mueller said from the beginning, he could see the product reviews update baked into Google's core ranking algorithm. That's close to what we have now. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but they're not revealing when there's an update. So it's kind of just moving along on a regular pace, and they're improving it and things are changing. But if you have a review site that was impacted by one of these, and I have thousands literally documented over all of the updates, you just need to really fix your review situation. And a lot of them are just really thin reviews, like a paragraph, a few sentences, a link to Amazon, and so on and so forth. I mean, you need to look at Wirecutter and go, how do I emulate this? And it is not easy, but that's what you need to do, in my opinion.
Right. And there was that whole article from housefresh.com about, it was just interesting. Right. It's just, the whole industry is in a big uproar about all this type of stuff. And also people are like, oh, we're not going to see another update at all, because when Google announced the reviews update and said we're not going to announce any other future reviews update, and they haven't announced any other updates since November, people are like, oh, wait, Google's done announcing updates. That's not true. Google will announce future core updates, future helpful content updates and spam updates. It's just this reviews update that it's affected by. And I think not having an update in the past 16 plus weeks now has been really frustrating, especially if you were hit by the September update, the September helpful content update. You feel like you're kind of stuck. And I haven't seen this type of negativity in the space in a long time, maybe since like Panda, really, honestly, Panda days. I haven't seen this much negativity.
Yeah, I mean, with Panda, like I just wrote in my last post, the beautiful part about Panda is every 6 to 8 weeks it rolled out again. So you literally had a chance to come back, and there were plenty of sites I helped recover from Panda. A lot of sites would recover from Panda. Sometimes when it was an adjustment to Panda, other times sites really fixed what was going on from a thin and low quality content standpoint. But yeah, I mean, with the reviews update, with updates in general, they do a ton of evaluation in between updates, right? I mean, Google's Paul Harr explained that to me at the Webmaster Conference. You were there sitting right next to me. And they said that's a bottleneck to them rolling out like broad core updates, right? But now we have multiple systems at play, right? So think about it. And we probably are seeing this left and right where, one system, they do something to one system and there are 4 other negative changes that go on with other systems that are at play, right? We see lots of spam in the search results right now. Why is that happening? I was digging into some this morning. It's crazy. They're ranking for very competitive queries. They'll probably be gone in a few days or less, but then it will pop up somewhere else. So I think what's going on is you have these major systems at play where they tweak one and it has these effects on others. And I think it's super hard for them to reel in at this point. That's my opinion. And that's one reason I think the review system is now behind the scenes. They're like, we could make changes there and then things happen and we don't need to worry about it, right? Remember Conch House? I mean, They made like $400,000 in a few weeks or something like that, basically from reviews that they spam to, the nth degree. So I'm sure stuff like that is going on. We just don't know it, or we're picking it up and then they're fixing it. And, so there's just a lot going on. And I don't envy Google. I'm sure it's very tough to have all these systems, working at one time.
Yeah, it's a different beast. Well, we ran out of time, I think, but I'm sure we could talk for the next 2 days about this topic. But I feel bad taking over. So everybody, thanks again, and make sure to donate.
Great. Thank you. Definitely donate.